All right. Are we live or are we Memorex? Some of you may remember that commercial. Stupid crap you remember. Good evening, everyone. How are you all doing? I hope everybody is well. Ah, my goodness. I saw, what is that? Let's see, where did that go? Was it on this arm? There it is. Oh, okay. I saw something in there. I'm like, what's that? Anyway, I hope you all are doing well. I hope you guys are having a good day. Here we are. It is Wednesday. Very nice. Last day of April. That's crazy. Year's blasting away already. Things are just going by so freaking fast. It's unbelievable. So, lots and lots to talk about. We are going to talk about the blackout and stuff, but we're also going to talk about the deal the U.S. signed with Ukraine. Imagine that. Ukraine said, oh, yes, we would like to make a deal with you. We're going to talk about that as well. But before we jump into anything, I want to remind everybody that this is a very family friendly oriented channel. I would ask you all to please be decent in the chat. No racism, no nastiness. Please be kind. If you cannot be kind, or if you want to act like an idiot, which sometimes they come in anyway, no matter what I say, I have those awesome moderators lit up in blue that will boot you out of here if you act stupid. So it's very simple. Very, very simple. All right. So we're going to talk about something else first, and then we're going to get into the other topics, okay? Hello from Maine, soon to be in West Virginia. Welcome, welcome. Bill Glover. Well, congratulations on getting out of the communist Northeast. I know a lot of the people down here are having a problem with all us Yankees coming down and moving to West Virginia, but that's okay. So I want to talk about this first. So I was sitting there and I've been looking at my freaking dogs. Now I weighed them. God, when it's maybe a month ago. I weighed them. I think it was a month ago. And when I weighed them a month ago, Zeus weighed 41, Caesar was 40, and Genghis was 40. And Kali, she weighed 35 pounds. So I'm like, I want to see where they're at. I want to see how much they weigh. So we started out with Miss Kali, and she has gone from 35 pounds to 48.6 pounds. I was like, holy crap, right? So then next, we have Caesar. And I knew Caesar was smaller than Genghis or Zeus, but it's still a fairly solid dog. He went from 40 pounds to 55 pounds. He weighs 55 pounds. Then we have Zeus, who I thought was going to be the heaviest because he's stocky, but he's shorter. Um, and he went from 41 pounds to 59 pounds. And then we have Mr. Genghis. Mr. Genghis went from 40 pounds up to 63 pounds. That's how much that freaking is now. I'm like, holy crap. Now, if you look at them, they're not quite as big as Hella, obviously, yet, and Hella's more filled out. I'm thinking Hella's got to weigh 90 pounds. She's got to be at least 90 pounds. Because for these guys to be that big already, and they're only going to be 5 months old, guys, on the 2nd of May. They will be 5 months old, and they are unbelievably. And I'm not, Mary. Do they look like they're fat dogs? They are not fat dogs in any way, shape, or form. I feed those dogs twice a day. I feed them in the morning, and then so like right now they're all out in the run. I have them all in the run right now because I didn't want to lock them up early, so that way they can be outside still. Once the live stream is over, I will go out. I'll get them. Their food and everything is all ready to go. I give them. They get a bowl of food. They get 2 eggs twice a day, and then they get that conch filled with peanut butter. So I got to show you. So $7 at Walmart, and let me see. That's not even 2 days worth of peanut butter out of there. I am going through some serious peanut butter with these dogs, but They're healthy, they look great, and I don't care. So I have this one, and I have two backup ones. So as soon as this one is empty, then I buy the next one. So I just finished one off. Was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. Yesterday, the day before, and I went and picked up another one. But yeah, it's video is a bit choppy on my end. Well, DJ, pop out and pop back in. Maybe that's an issue on your end. I don't know. But anyway, they're growing like weeds. They're doing fantastic. They're really good dogs. Really good dogs. So, but anyhow, all right. So let's first talk about the thing that just popped in the news, and we're going to talk about. I want to really get into talking about this blackout that happened. Who gets the conch, or do they share the conch? I have no idea who gets it, because when I have their dish and I have their food in there, I break the eggs open, put the conch is in the dish, and they just that's it. They go and do their thing. It's a bit blurry on my end as well. I have closed out twice now. That's weird. On my end here, it's perfectly fine. So I don't know what's going on. But but yeah, whoever gets it, and they eat it, and that's the end of that. So, but all right. So we're gonna talk about this deal. I don't know if you guys saw that at the funeral of the Vatican, when they were doing the funeral, the president was there for the Pope, and Zelensky was there. And there's actually a picture of just Zelensky and just Trump sitting this far away from each other, face to face, having a conversation. And Ukraine just signed a deal, and they haven't given it all the details of what that deal entails, but pretty sure they're giving us a lot of the mineral rights that we wanted. That was part of what we wanted to make this deal happen, so that we can stop this war in Ukraine. So, but yeah, so that's big news. That is real big news. So hopefully that'll help squash things. Things will come to an end over there, and that'll be the end of that. But so that's actually a good thing, because that war needs to be over. That absolutely needs to be over. What a lot of people, I don't think, are understanding with that whole situation, you know, and it's been played up in the media a certain way. But let me ask you this: we're going to do a scenario, and I'm not pro Russia, I'm not pro anything, I'm pro America. Okay, that's where I'm at. I'm for the United States, and the rest of these countries I don't give a crap about. I'll be honest. It's just my take on it. You know, we pay and pay and pay everybody. You know, but anyway, let's look at it. You're from Russia, right? Let's say we're from Russia, and you have the UN is slowly but surely encroaching on your territory, slowly surrounding you, when they said that they were not going to do that, right? Let's say that happened. How would you feel? And at what point would you draw the line and say no more? And Russia basically said Ukraine was the line and no more. So, you know, yeah, trying to recoup some of the zillions of money spent. Yeah, no kidding. Um, so that's just my take on it. I could be completely wrong. I'm just sharing you my thoughts on it. But if somebody was doing that to us, the United States of America, we surely would do something about it. We would not allow certain things to happen. I mean, that's just the way. That's just the way that goes. Anybody remember the Cuban Missile Crisis, when we said, "No, you're not putting missiles in Cuba," right? And did they put missiles in Cuba? No, they did not, because we would not allow that. We drew a line in the sand and said, "You're not doing this," and that was back in the '60s. So people don't think about those things and think about what's happened to us directly, and how we would react. So, you know, even though Russia attacked first, was there provocation? Was there a reason? Like I said, again, I don't have all the answers, folks. I'm not looking at all the logistics. I'm just sharing information. So, Blurry and frame freezing. That's bizarre. Yeah, because I don't know why it's doing that. I have no idea why it's doing that. So anyway, right now we got 122 in the chat. We got 42 thumbs up. So I'm going to ask you, if you have not shot a thumbs up yet, to please do so to show support for the channel. And I thank you ahead of time for that. Really does make a huge, huge difference with the algorithms. So I thank you for that reason as well. Also, if you are not subscribed to the channel, I would ask you to please subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon to get all notifications as well. And I thank you for that. So, anyway, let's get this situation over in Spain, in Portugal, right? They had this blackout, and would it affect like 50 million people? I think it was something in that range. A lot of people were affected by this situation. I want you guys to pay attention to how they reacted. It's important, really, really is important, okay? As preppers, hopefully, if you're watching this channel and you're a prepper, you have a game plan. It's my hope that you've been paying attention through the years, listening to certain things that I say, and went, yeah, you know what, he's right about this, that, or the other thing. So you got to pay attention, because the way people reacted is important. If you have a game plan, I'm not expecting you to get it specific, but do you and your group have communication set up like each other's radios? We do have some things set up. Yes, I'm not going to really get into exact. We need to do more with it. I will tell you that, but we do have communications for when things go bad, and stuff like that. But we definitely need to get more squared away with that. But we definitely do have that, because there has to be. We do have a call sign that if somebody was coming in and we're having a conversation, so that I know that they're safe and it's okay when they're coming in. There is a certain word that we use, to them, to let us know it's them, that they're okay, they're coming in, and they're safe. So we do have that, but yeah, there definitely more work needs to be done on that end. But it's like anything else. It's a constant thing. But going back to what I was saying, SHTF happens. As preppers, we have a game plan. We know what we're going to do, right? Are we going to panic? No. Will we be upset? Yes, because everybody will be upset. But hopefully, you already have your game plan down. Your family already knows what the game plan is. You have a certain location that you're going to meet. You know what you're going to do. You know where you're going to go. So those are all really, really important aspects of the whole situation in a true SHTF situation. Now let's look at what happened over there in Spain, in Portugal, right? Now there's speculation of why the grid went down. Everything from because the green energy and the temperature had gone up and it was too much of a draw and it shut the whole system down, to it could be something space related with a solar flare, something like that. So there's a lot of speculation, okay? But this is what we know, okay? Now, I like watching these type of things because I think it's really interesting. Power goes out. A couple things are always going to happen when the power goes out. A majority of the people are going to sit tight, and they're going to go, well, the power's going to come back on, so I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to wait. That's what the majority of people are going to do, right? So how long do they wait, right? Again, those situations that happen like that, that is our opportunity as preppers, as people that are prepared, to put our plans in motion. You're not going to wait and say, oh, we'll just wait and see if the power comes back on. That's not what you need to be doing. In a situation like that, you don't know if it's a temporary situation, you don't know if it's a longer term situation, but when the whole country's power goes out, that's your time to move. Get on the road, get to where your location is, get to where you need to be. Even if it's go, everybody's coming to you, or if you're hunkering in, make sure your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed, okay? Because it's really, really important to be ready, to be squared away, because you just don't know. Yeah, all the trains in both Portugal and Spain stopped running when the power went out. Right. They're like real super green over there, Alex. And so people didn't know what to do. So they were planning to camp out at the train station. They were going to just wait. They didn't know where to go or how to do. The traffic was at a standstill. I don't know if you guys saw that. Morning late said, I have a place to go, but when I do, I don't know if it's when do I know when it's time to go? All right, that's a great question, Morning Light, and I appreciate you asking that. And this is important too. Even if it's a false alarm, Morning Light, okay? Even if it's a false alarm, those are learning lessons. So at the first sign of trouble, my thing to anybody would be get out of Dodge. As soon as you think, holy crap, this might be it. Let me go ahead and go. Because even if it's a false alarm, you can learn from that experience, right? You can learn from that experience, because what's going to happen is you're going to go, and let's say you go and you get to your place where you were going to go and it's a false alarm. And all of a sudden you're going to realize, holy crap, I forgot this, I forgot that, I forgot the other thing, right? It's going to happen. Folks, I don't care how prepared you are. There's things that you're going to forget. There's things that you're going to go, oh my God, I didn't think about that. And those are important things to learn from, again, your mistakes. Whatever mistakes you've made, when that power goes out, anytime the power goes out, that is, yeah, it's better to be safe than sorry. Exactly, Alex. So my advice is go immediately, as first sign of trouble, and hopefully get there safely. And again, if it's a false alarm, take it as a learning lesson. What did I do right? What did I do wrong? What do I need to improve on? Anything that's a false alarm, anything that is a small time situation with a power outage or whatever the case may be, we can learn from those situations. We can go, okay, I should have done this. I should have done that. I should have been better prepared with this. I should have been better prepared with that. Like I've always said to you guys, okay, if you now and let's be honest, and I'm going to ask an honest question. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to ask you this: how many of you watching right now have stored gas where you're at? That you have gas cans, and you got those gas cans, where you're at. How many people have gas cans where you're at, either in your bug out location and all that type of stuff? So how many people have gas cans? So I'm going to ask this first. So Mary Taylor saying yes, Janet saying yes. Let's see how many more people real quick. And then I have a follow-up question to that, okay? Yes, I do, and at my bug out location too. That's good. That's good. Morning Light says yes, but I know not enough. Okay, so a lot of people are having gas. Now, everybody that's saying that you have gas already, gas cans where you're at. I want an honest answer, and I'm going to give you my honest answer as well. How many of you have empty gas cans? How many of you who have gas cans, right? Maybe some are full, maybe some are empty. How many of you have empty gas cans? Those of you that said you had gas, how many have empty gas cans where you're at? We got all filled up. A few people are saying yes, they have empty gas cans. Mary says two empty. Alex says yes, one. Okay. Myself, I have one small 2-gallon container. Everything else is full. Now, my rule of thumb has always been, I've always said, if SHT hits the fan tomorrow, on a bunch of empty gas cans, I would be so pissed off. I would be so mad, because there's no reason they shouldn't all be full. As soon as you get one empty, all right, and this is just advice that I want to give you guys. You can do whatever you want to do with it, okay? Every time you get one that's empty, the next day take it to the store and refill it. just put it in a rotation like anything else. That's what I do here. I rotate that gas out. I have quite a bit of gas here already, and over the course of the winter, as I use a gas can, I take it to the store, I refill it, I grab the next one, and I put that one back, and I just follow it around where I have the gas, and then I have my other gas cans that I have outside here. But keep your stuff topped off. Like right now, propane tanks, right? There's another one too, okay? All my propane tanks are full. I have not been using any, propane because the weather's been decent. So the only time I use propane is if I'm using the stove, on the um, for cooking or whatever stuff like that. That's only propane I'm using. So I'm not using the propane like I do in the wintertime. When I'm heating with propane, I go through some propane in the wintertime. But right now, I'm good to go. But all my propane is full. I have all of my gas full except for one 2-gallon can. And I looked at it today when I went out and I forgot to grab it because I was going to go fill it today. But now it's sitting there and it's empty, you know. But it's like I said, it's another thing. If you stay up on top of it, it just becomes a normal thing that you think about and you do that. So now let's go back to Portugal and Spain. Gridlock everywhere, right? Cars parked, nobody traveling. You ever been out in a situation? We're going to use this as an example too, and I want you to think about this again. These are things to think about, but now I want you to think about it on a larger scale. But you ever been out and there's been a power outage somewhere in a town or whatever, and none of the street lights are working, right? And how are you supposed to treat those street lights when they're not working? You treat them like a four-way stop. Do people do that? No, they don't. Okay, they don't do that. People forget how to drive. They drive like idiots. They don't think properly, and that's just a power outage in a small town somewhere, or a stoplight is out, or whatever the case may be. People get really stupid really quickly. Now, could you imagine on a large scale situation like that just happened in Spain and Portugal? The entire country powered down, no power. So nobody can get, people are trying to go to, we'll talk about another part of this here in a second too, which I think is also really important. And I've talked about this, but I'm going to talk about it in a second. But again, people just, they lose it. They lose control. And again, that's why we as preppers need to stay focused, keep moving along, doing what we need to do. Um, that's really, really important. So what do we got? 196 in the chat right now. We're at 78 thumbs up, which is less than half. So guys, again, if you have not shot that thumbs up yet, I'm going to ask you to do that to show support for the channel. Again, I thank you ahead of time. It really does make a huge difference with the algorithms. So I appreciate that. Again, if you are not subscribed to the channel, I would ask you to please subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon to get all notifications as well. And again, I thank you for that as well. Okay, so here's the next thing to think about, right? What were people trying to do? They're trying to go to the ATM to take out money, and they couldn't because the power was out. Their ATMs were not working. People were losing their minds. All right, this is a 1-day power outage over there, guys. 1-day power outage, right? And I have always said to all of you guys, you should always keep a certain amount of cash on hand. And I'm not talking thousands, okay? But you should probably have, you know, um, you should keep a certain amount of cash in your wallet. I try to have a stash in my wallet as well, where I keep, maybe $100, $200, folded up and tucked away in my wallet, plus whatever I have in my wallet. It's a good idea to always have a certain amount of cash on you, and also keep a certain amount of cash at home, because again, when that power goes out and it's not coming back on, like the situation that happened over there, you don't have cash, you got squat. They're not able to, go to the grocery store. Everything is electronic. You scan everything. Nobody rings anything up anymore. They used to ring it up in the old days, but everything is now electronic. It's all scanned. Situation like that can turn really, really ugly in a hurry. Now, what you probably did not hear about a lot in the news, because I'm sure they don't want to advertise this, let's talk about the criminal element, right? Criminals, guys, are bad enough when everything is working right, right? They are. Power goes out. What do criminals go? We're going to think like a criminal for a second, okay? The power's out, which means no cameras are working. No cameras are working, which means there's no alarms, no cameras are working. Go out and loot, steal. Now, I don't know what happened over there. I don't claim to know what happened over there, but I am sure, would not be surprised in any way that criminals did not take advantage of that opportunity to steal and do what they needed to do, because they're going to do it when, yeah, criminals take complete advantage. They always do. Okay, they're always going to do that. And criminals, and again, let's go back to a true SHTF situation. When rule of law is over, when the police officers have all gone home to take care of their own families, because that's what they're going to do. When the EMTs and the ambulance people and the doctors and the nurses all head out and they all head home because they're going to take care of their own families, okay? There's no obligation for them to stay. Some will stay because they feel obligated to stay, okay? But a lot of people will go, oh, yeah, I'll stay. And the first minute chance they get, they're ducking out a side door and they're gone. And you can't blame them. You cannot blame them. They have their own, especially if they have families. If they don't have families or their kids are grown, different situation. But, you know, things can turn really, really ugly really, really fast. And this situation, weather in Spain and Portugal was hot during the outage. Yes, I saw that. That's what I had mentioned earlier, Alex. They said that when the power went out, they had a 5-degree temperature rise. And they don't know if that was part of the problem of why the whole power grid went down. Now, we can sit here and speculate, and we could say, could it have possibly been some kind of an attack? It could have been. Would they ever tell us if it was? They would not. They don't want people to panic, right? So they're going to say it was this reason, that reason, or the other reason, which is fine. I mean, they can say whatever they want to say in that situation. But again, it's really important, and I want you guys, go watch videos. When we're done with this live stream, go watch videos of that situation. You can look it up online. There's all kinds of videos, and they're just talking about it. But what they're sharing without knowing what they're sharing. They're giving you guys valuable information, okay? Valuable information. Gridlock. So if you're in the city, right, you're in that area, high congested area, you aren't getting out unless you're walking, or if you got a bicycle, or maybe if you have a motorcycle. All right, it's the only way you're getting out, because traffic, complete gridlock, right? The trains were all down. So nobody was going anywhere, and they don't know what to do. How long will the power be out? They don't know, right? So they're sitting there, and people were camping out, like I said, at the train station and stuff like that. You know, we as preppers, as people that are preparedness minded, we know what we need to do. We need to get to where we need to be, and then if the power comes back on, great. Again, learning lesson. Everything is a learning lesson. Every storm that you go through, every hurricane that you go through, every flood that you go through, you learn from that, okay? That is a good thing. Don't panic. Panic is the enemy. Panic is always going to be the enemy, because when you're panicking, you're not thinking clearly. And again, add 15 minutes after the power outage, water in the faucets dried up. You know what? That's another great point, full of hope. Power outage happens. The first thing you should be doing, if you already don't have a lot of water on hand, you live in an apartment or, you know, wherever you are, fill up everything that you can. Fill up the bathtub. Just turn that water on. Fill that bathtub up. You like 15 minutes. That would give you enough time to get that bathtub filled up. That would give you enough time to get some, you know, containers, anything that you can, and get those filled up. Because again, you don't know how long it's going to be. And if it's a worst case scenario type of situation, you'll be real happy to have that 300 gallons of water in your bathtub. If it if that, if, I think it's right around what that would be, or maybe 200 gallons, whatever it is. Um, you know, yeah, they're saying that it could be a solar flare. Yep, I heard that as well. Again, there's always going to be a lot of speculation of what it could have been. Conspiracy theorists are going to think whatever, you know. But like I said, the situation is something to pay attention to. I'm telling you right now, folks, and I've talked about it a million times. My number one concern amongst a myriad of other things that could possibly go wrong, but my number one concern is a grid down situation. Okay, grid down situation. That is my number one concern because that happens, that's a game changer for everything. I'm looking on here. I don't know if you guys can see the marks on my arms. That's from the dogs. That's from the dogs. So I got a nice scratch there. I got them like all on my chest and on my back. I'm outside with no shirt on, and then they want to jump up on me, and I'm trying to teach them no jumping. But Kali is a lot like her mother, and she loves to jump. So, but put a tarp in the tub and fill it up with water. You can just fill up the tub. And there were 3 reported deaths after the power outage. Okay. Well, like I said, if that thing had extended longer than it did, it could be a real bad situation. But yeah, it's just you never know. I mean, folks, like I said, did they expect to have the power go out in the whole country? Nope. But it happened, and it happened, boom, just like that. And I believe, like I said, my belief is that's what will happen here in the United States. 1 minute, here we are, everything's beautiful, and we're talking and sharing on the internet. And then the next minute, all the power is going to go out. Well, it won't go out here, but it'll go out for everybody else if if you're tied to the system. So again, relying on the system is scary. It's a scary, scary scenario. Oh, I couldn't even imagine being in an elevator when the power went out. That would be the worst thing you could happen. That would suck. Full of hope. Yeah, because I tell you what, I'd get my butt out of that elevator somehow. Think about how many people carry lighters, how many people have a flashlight, just on everyday things, right? They don't. So now you're in this elevator, and the power goes out, and you're sitting in the dark in an elevator. Well, what are you doing? Now, I always carry a lighter as part of what I do. So, U.S. electric grid is in bad shape, and we haven't hardened the electric grid from an EMP weapon attack. Oh, I know. They've hardened some things, but overall, the grid is in disaster. It is antiquated, and that's why it's a soft target. It is a serious soft target for a deterrent that wants to do us harm. The power grid is a serious soft target, and there's so many substations out there that got a fence around them and little razor wire on top, and that's it. Is that going to stop anybody that's determined? No. You don't even have to go inside the fenced-in area. You could sit outside with an AK-47 or a rifle or whatever, and just light it up. And I always will go back, and I've talked about this, and a lot of people have no idea it ever happened. There was a substation in California, all right, substation in California that um, they don't know who did it because they never caught them. But whoever did it sat there, they figured it out for like 20 minutes. I want you to think about that. For 20 minutes, they sat outside and they were shooting up this substation. Now, they were able to divert power, so the power did go out, but very temporarily until they diverted the power. They never caught who did that, folks. I want you to think about that. And that's one substation, one substation. A determined attack on a whole bunch of substations, they're not diverting squat, okay? It would not be, nothing would be diverted. So, it's like I said, real bad situation, real bad situation. And again, people don't think about that. They just don't, but things can change in a heartbeat, in an absolute heartbeat. So, um, you know, like I said, that's always been my biggest concern. I don't ever want to be caught with my pants down, which means I'm not ready. I don't have my stuff topped off. You know, to me, that's being unprepared. So, Ed, how many people know how to get out of an elevator if the power goes out or stuck between floors? Probably not very many. Probably not very, and most people would be scared to death, and not know what to do. So, yeah, a raccoon took out a power substation. Exactly. Yep. Yep. And that's that those things easily can happen. Very, very easily they can happen. It's just like I said, why do we prepare? Why do we get ready? It's exactly why. But you just do the best you can. Again, anything that you are doing, anything that you are doing that's going to give you an advantage is a good thing. That's the way I look at it. Um, with getting this chicken run in and working on that, like I went out today, and I got the hinges for the door, the latch, and the handle. So I needed to get those. So I'm going to be, that's my next step for that, is building the door to go in and out. Once I have the door built, I do have to place a few more posts through the center of that thing, and then start covering, with the chicken wire and all that type of stuff. And that's what exactly I'm going to be working on. And again, the run is now basically completely done. All the wires up, all the posts are in on the outside of it. As soon as I put the door in, now I could let the chickens out at that point. I probably won't, because until I get the whole thing covered over, I want them to be as safe as they possibly can be. So it's just a matter of right now is just working at it as I can, and that's what I'm doing. So, like I said, slow and steady, getting something done. As long as you're making forward progress, guys, that's the important thing. Rome was not built in a day. And when the time comes, we're going to have a lot more chickens here than we do now, because several group members have chickens. They'll be scooping up their chickens with them and bringing them down. And we will cross all the bridges we need to cross when we get to that point. But and then the very first thing that we need to be working on is making more chickens. So that is taking those eggs. Ed, is your area known for chicken hawks? I see a lot of stuff up there flying around and stuff like that, JJ. Um, you know, so I'm not going to take that chance with them. So that's why chickens in New York are doing fine. They're all getting older. They don't get as many eggs up there as they used to. I don't think Heather wants to keep chickens, but Becky likes the chickens. And but Heather has to pay for the feed and stuff like that for the chickens. So I think she's just waiting it out till they die. So, um, but Becky likes the chickens. So, but yeah, it's just Becky's up there getting her gardening, and getting everything squared away. And I'm just going to put it out here now, so people will stop asking me. I'm not putting in a garden this year. All right, I'm not putting in a garden. Now I know some of you are going to go, "Oh my God, you got to have a garden and blah 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 blah," and that's fine. Focusing on other things right now. When the time comes and something goes sideways, trust me, gardening is going to be everything for everyone. So, we know what we need to do at that point in time. So that's what we're going to worry about when that time comes. Right now, um, I think getting infrastructure done, getting projects done, is more important than worrying about a garden right now. So that's you can agree or disagree, and that's perfectly fine. Now, do I love homegrown tomatoes? Yes, I may throw in a couple tomato plants just because I love homegrown tomatoes. But other than that, probably not. Lamb's Light says I've got 11 chickens. Yeah, actually, when we do our next get together, Sandy's bringing down the new chickens that we bought. If you guys remember, we bought chickens, was it March? I think in March we bought chickens. Uh, and so I got like 10 and she got 15. And I think out of those, 4 didn't make it. So I told her, I said, if there's enough hens, if you can just bring me like 7 hens, that's perfectly fine. So we will be having more hens coming in. Hopefully they're all hens, and get them in here. And that way we have now fresh blood, for a new crop of chickens. And as these other girls are starting to get older, they're not old in any way, at this point. They're 2. I think the chickens are 2 now. So, we're just going to keep working on things. Eventually, I will build a better a better chicken coop. It's one thing at a time, folks. I mean, this run itself, it's cost me a little bit of money. Okay, and that's just like I said, but that's something that I wanted to have done and squared away before anything went sideways, and that's important. And so, because now I have access to the materials, I can get the materials, I can do what I need to do. Um, you know, in SHTF, do you plan on eating some chickens or just having them for eggs? Good question, Nick. What we would be doing is we would try to have utilize as many chickens for eggs in the beginning as we could. Once the chickens got to be about 3 years old, then we would cull some of the chickens and eat them. But then we would be replacing them as we went. We would want to keep a certain number of chickens at all times because you just never know. Um, you know, that's like I said, you just never know. So, um, it's just one of the things that we're doing. And I'll share this with you. I still have to put it out in the group chat, and somebody did put it out in the group chat already because I was talking to them about it. The next get together, I was saying canning jars. If everybody brings down 2 cases of canning jars, and we can store them right up in the loft area in the pavilion, it's a good spot. It's out of the way. It's not taking up any space, and it doesn't matter if it's cold or hot. They'll be absolutely fine. So. If you pressure crayon water, it's sterilized for wounds, etc. Oh, that's yeah. There you go. Thank you for that information, full of hope. But hey, Tess, welcome. But again, like I said, it's just a matter of. So we're going to try to get our stockpile of canning jars up because when the true time comes, we're going to need every canning jar that we possibly can have to can as much as we possibly can. So that's going to be important. So the more canning jars that we have down here, and we're going to have the space, that whole top of that is going to be that loft area in the pavilion in the Raven's Nest can be all used for just storage of canning jars and stuff like that. So that would be perfect. If you're hatching chickens, a certain number of them will be roosters. That will provide you with chickens to eat. Yes, Okie Forge, that's another good point. A certain number of them would be roosters, and you raise them up to a certain point, and then you kill them and eat them. Yes. So, yeah, you don't want to go cutting your flock down if you don't need to, because you need those eggs. They're going to provide you with eggs every day. Eating that chicken gives you one meal. If they're laying eggs every day, that's going to give you a lot of meals to utilize. And the more chickens that you have, obviously, the better that's going to be for that type of a situation. Like I said, there's a lot of people up in this area that have pigs, they have sheep, they have cows. So there will be barter opportunities early on in a true SHTF situation to be able to utilize that. So, but yeah, like I said, lessons can be taken from this situation in Spain if you're paying attention and if you know what to look for. So, what about fishing during SHTF? I do have fishing gear, Alex. I think everybody should have fishing gear, but I think rather quickly, a lot of lakes, rivers, ponds will be fished out really, really quickly. So, have you considered setting up an area to grow chicken food? Not really at this point. Morning light. Any open areas that we would have, we would probably want to utilize that for growing food for ourselves. You can give chickens, like if it's summertime and stuff like that, give them greens, give them weeds. They'll eat all that. They love that type of stuff. So you can feed them like all summer long. And then if you free range them a little bit as well, they're going to forage themselves. But you have to be careful because you don't want to lose them. So, all right. I'm going to ask again. We got 242 in the chat. We got 122 thumbs up. So again, if you have not shot a thumbs up yet, please do so. Show support for the channel. Again, I do appreciate that. It really does make a huge difference with the algorithms as well. So I thank you for that reason as well. Also, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon to get all notifications as well. And I thank you ahead of time for that. Okay. So, egg count time. Hey, there's Asif. Welcome back, Asif. Where you been hiding? How many eggs today? And yes or no for Miss Betty White. So, I'll give you guys a moment to get your guesses in, and we will go from there. But yeah, Asif, people were asking, they were like, what happened to Asif? Where has Asif gone? I'm like, I don't know. I haven't seen him. So, it's good to see you back in the chat. Oh, you guys, just so you know, I will be live streaming on Friday. I'm going to put that out there right now. And so that'll be an 8 o'clock. It's 6 o'clock on Friday. I will be doing a live stream for my hardcore members. So if you would like to join us in the hardcore member chat, go to the main page on YouTube, hit the join button, become a hardcore member, and you can join us for that 6 p.m. Private live stream. Okay, and then again, I'll be doing a regular live stream at 8 o'clock. All right. So just double check here, and I already know who the winner is, but I'm just going to double check to make sure. All right. If you had the same exact guess as Dale in Ohio with 4 eggs today, and yes for Miss Betty White, then you are 100% correct. So congratulations to Dale in Ohio. You have won absolutely nothing, but you are happy about it. And see, DJ had put down 3. He was first in there, but he had the wrong answer. So, but anyhow, there he is. Whoopee. Now, wait till we get more chickens in here, Dale. It's going to be harder for people to guess then. It'll be a lot harder for people to guess then. So, and I'm actually looking forward to having more chickens because these dogs, I'm giving them, like I said, 2 eggs in the morning, and then they get 2 eggs in the evening. So, there's 4 eggs a day. And when you have 5 chickens, it doesn't always mean you're getting 4 or 5 eggs in a day. So, with more chickens, hopefully we'll have plenty. Alex said, I hope the Pakistan-India tensions don't go nuclear. That would be a bad thing, yes. That would be a bad thing. And more color. Yeah, we'll find out, Dale. I think some of them are Easter eggers. I think some of the ones that are coming are Easter eggers because I think we had gotten a mix of different chickens. So I'll have to ask Sandy, what we got going there. So how do you get some egg? Well, what I do is like I crack the eggs right into their dish, like at night when they go to bed, or if I'm giving them the eggs in the run. Now, Caesar is the alpha. I'll tell you that right now. Caesar is the alpha male, even though he is the smallest of the males. He is the alpha. And so what he does, if I put it in the run, he'll growl at the other dogs and they'll back off, and then he eats the eggs first. But at night, they're all right there, and I put that bowl down, and all their faces are right in there eating those eggs right away. Can you use that spring to build a small lake or a large pond? What we may do, Mary, that's a good question, and I appreciate you asking that. We have actually talked about the spring down over here is building a retaining wall farther out, making it bigger. and then, you know, opening it up and letting that whole area fill up. So that would be a really good spot, because that's, you know, going to have more frogs, you know, more water available if we needed that and stuff like that as well. So that's uh, that's kind of where we're at with that one. But oh, did I catch the mouse? Someone was asking. You know what? I haven't heard it again. So I don't know if it bailed out of there because I was banging on the walls or not, but I have not heard it again. So no, I didn't even put the trap in there. I was going to, and then of course, then I got busy doing other things and completely forgot. But I still may put that trap underneath there just to see if I get anything, because it's a spot that's out of the way that I don't utilize. It's under the sink in the bathroom, and I have stuff under there, but not a lot. Nothing that I'm in there trying to get at every day. Like I have like rubbing alcohol, stuff like that underneath there. So, but yeah, that's pretty much what I got under there. Tell you what though, I'm getting some serious sun already. Just being outside, putzing around. It's amazing how much sun you get just doing that. But like I said, it was a beautiful day today. Really, really nice here. Full of hope said I keep traps loaded at all times. Haven't caught any though yet. Well, that's good. You know, and it's funny, Tess. I still take my supplement, vitamin D. I'm taking my supplements every single day, just because make sure that I'm good to go. So I take vitamin D, I take zinc, and vitamin C every single day, every single day. So we've had 7 inches of rain in the last week. That so hopefully all your rain catchments are filled up, Okie Forge. See, that's something. Like I said, this month coming up, we're really going to focus on those that have the supplies here to get their rain catchments set up. They need to get their rain catchments set up because they can't fill up if there's no water going to them. I drink lots of water. I do too. Generally, the green teas, for the most part, I drink them during a live stream, but a lot of times during the day, I'm pounding waters. So, but yeah, we have too many tanks here that are empty, and that is not a good thing. And again, like Full of Hope said, I seriously feel like we're running out of time, and that's why the push, Full of Hope. The more that we have set up, the more that we have ready here when the time comes, that's less that we got to worry about when the time comes. And you know, it is. I don't want to have to sit here and have something happen, and then everybody's here, and now they're going, "Oh my God, I don't have any water set up. I got my totes, and there's nothing set up." And now they're thinking of, you know, walking down to the creek, which is a walk. Okay, that's not right around the corner. Um, you know, going and having to do that, which puts you in danger as well because you're out there. You know, so you know it's just. Gail says, "Hey Ed, love your channel. I watch all the way from Glasgow, Scotland." Oh, awesome, awesome, Gail. Well, thank you for watching. Scottish is one of the things I have in me. The kids, their mom was Scottish. So her father's name, I'll give you this. Her father's name was Malcolm McPhail. It doesn't get much more Scottish than that. And that's one of the reasons why Heather is named Heather, our daughter. So because it was very Scottish. And, you know, Ed was named Ed because he had no choice. I was going to have an Ed. And that's, you know, yeah, I'm English, Irish, Scottish, Dutch, German, and a little bit of Spanish thrown in there too from Spain. So, but yep, I have a water pump set up on a trailer with 300-gallon tank on it, gas powered pump. There you go. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. But like I said, you know, you get your setup set up whenever it rains and they start filling up when everybody's not here. Like Mark came back, hadn't been here, and both of his tanks down there that he's got set up, he's got 2 more to set up, but the 2 that he has set up, they're both completely full. So, that's a good thing. That's what you want, you know. But it's a matter of preparedness, guys. Steady, 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 getting things squared away, making it happen. Again, the problem is always two things. It's always two things: time and money. Time and money. When you have, our times getting together, what can we get done in that time frame? And we're trying to get as much done as we can. What about water filters during SHTF? Very, very important. And you should have multiples of that, several different ways, Alex, to filter water. You can set up a filtration system using sand, stone, and also charcoal. Take a garbage can, one of the big plastic garbage cans, or even a metal garbage can, poke holes in the bottom, layer upon layer. Do layers like that thick of sand, then a layer of stone, a layer of charcoal, and do that up all the way up. Fill that thing up. Then you're going to have, you pour that water in. I would filter the water before I put it in. What do I mean by that? Run the water through like a t-shirt or some kind of cloth so you're catching any large debris. That's important as well. Then once you've got that technically clear water, then you pour it through there, you filter it through that, and then I would boil it after that. Bring it to a rolling boil. So, I mean, that's one option, okay? There's tablets out there. You have, like, I have a Berkey, so I use a Berkey to filter my water. So you have that option. I also have a Catadine, which is a water filter for hikers that use that. So I have that. I also have the mini Sawyers. So there's all kinds of options out there to filter water. So you got to think about that. So you know, folks, I'm telling you what, lessons can be learned from the situation that happened. If you're in a city, I'm telling you right now, if you live in a city, look at what just happened in Spain. Gridlock. You're not driving out of there, okay? You're not driving out of there. You need to get out of the cities. Even suburbia will be bad enough, okay? Suburbia will be bad enough. The further out you can be, the safer you're going to be. Uh, you know, and like I said, it's a matter of preparedness, being ready, taking care of your business, and going from there. And that's all we can do. That's all we can do. And when the time comes, we do what we have to, and have a good plan. That's really, really important. Like I said, we have so many things that we need to do here and to get squared away. And we're trying to get those things done. And we're trying to get those things. Like I said, our next get together here next month, the entire game plan is anybody that has a wood stove that needs to go in and they have the components here, we want to get those wood stoves in. Anybody that has their gutters in the rain catchment, we're going to get those tanks spray painted. We're going to get those gutters up. We're going to get everything together so that those systems can be in place. The only people, besides, we have the four tanks in front of the pavilion. Okay, so those are four 275-gallon tanks there. We have two tanks behind the wolf's lair. I have one tank behind the battery room. Okay, Mark has two tanks that are full right now. Bud he's transferred the water that he had in his tanks to an empty tank. He's got four tanks stacked up, and now he filled up. I think he filled one completely and another one part way. He transferred last time he was here the water that was in the. He has one of his two tanks gutters set up, so we got to get the other gutter set up as well. So we're getting there. We're not where we need to be. And we really need to get those set up because every time it rains, we're losing water. And again, we have our dry period down here where we don't get a lot of water. So, it's really, really important. So, that's something to think about. So, anyway, guys, I am going to jump off of here for now. I want to leave you again with the most important things: STD, step, thing, and day. One step at a time, one thing at a time and one day at a time. If you set realistic goals and work at getting them done, they will happen. And the only one that's going to stop you from achieving those goals is you. Okay. Do I do things as fast as I want to get them done? No. But if I work on it a little bit at a time, and whenever I have, some free time and I can work on a project, I'm going to work on a project. And that's important. That is important. So I want you guys to just steady, steady, steady. Do what you can. And remember, anything that you are doing is better than doing nothing. Okay. Make sure those gas cans are topped off. Make sure those propane tanks are topped off, because there ain't going to be no more time to go out and get them, okay, when that time comes. So be ready, guys. Have a great day. I will talk to you all later. Prepper Nurse 1 out for now.